third time doing this video, so I'm going to make this somewhat brief. This is my shop, my dad's shop really, I'm just going to take on a quick tour of it. This is our main shop where we do most of our work. Let's start over here. This is what we call the clean bench, which is usually used for electrical stuff and stuff that's not greasy or that dirty. As you can see, it's kind of overwhelmed with projects right now, but we do actually get a lot of work done on it. And then on the walls, you can see all those tools and miscellaneous stuff and clocks and everything else. And I can go into detail about all that stuff. This is his primary toolboxes. These contain a significant portion of the tools that he needs to work. These two over here are mostly metric, and these two over here are the SAE ones, and they all contain different stuff. And behind that, you can see all those cubbies. That's where he keeps all his raw hardware, and then giant washers on top. Those are his hard hats, spray paints. There's one of his punch-it presses. Let's use that to getting on bearings and whatnot. You can see he has a whole bunch of like wheels and turning and bearing stuff to use. This is one trailer of walnuts. These are the tiny trailers. There's some trailers that barely fit into this shop, and you can see how big it is. Like that's one of the backhoes you'll see on the road, and you see how tall the shop goes up from there. But yeah, this is one of the trailers we have, one of our trailers. And then over here we have this is our nutcracker that you've heard me talk about. This is the table on which the nuts are actually sorted, and we put the nuts in here, this giant bin thing, and it goes all the way up on that conveyor belt, all the way up to there, where it gets dropped into here. And this thing has two rotating grates that are actually on the other side. You'll see them when I come around. And then from there, they fall down, or no, they get, the drippings fall down into that pipe right there underneath it. They go into there, where they get put on a conveyor belt back up, and the bad stuff gets sucked up. So you can see that conveyor belt going back up there. And then the bad stuff gets sucked up into this tube, down and out into this bad stuff tube. And then that conveyor belt, I mentioned before, leads up into there, which then drops onto the rotating turntable. You see it on the other side, right there. And they come around, and 3 or 4 people pick them up out of here, on this turntable. They come out of that little tube there. And then in the center here, you can see it's full of crud. Oh, you can't really see it's full of crud. There we go, now you can see it's full of crud. Those are all bad walnuts, and there's a little suction tube that goes back out to the same chaff chute, and we have a trailer that size outside, and yeah. This is my dad's pickup, the 76 Chevy, and it is basically one giant paperweight. It's been for the last few years. We use it for storage now, mostly to hang stuff on, but one day we'll get a new engine in it, and we keep a lot of our parts in there. Oh, and each one of these boxes that you see is filled with walnuts, as well as the ones I started with way over there. And let's see, moving on. Let's go over here now. This is my dad's so-called dirty workbench, and this is where he gets almost all his work done. This is where he spends a lot of his time. You can see it has a whole bunch of vices and things, and there's a whole thing of oil, case in point, dirty bench. And, you know, chemicals and stuff really get on this bench. He has, you know, of course, basically a whole other toolbox on the wall. And you can see how high it goes up, actually. So, yeah, there's that. This is the dirty bench, and he has, you know, bunches of stuff underneath it. And his drill press right next door, so he can continue working without having to move too much. This is what I always thought of as the recreational area. We have the fridge, and we have music. That's a box in the corner. You can't really see it that well. We have all the safety equipment and manuals and everything in here. And this is our grinder station. You can see we have whole bunches of grinders because nothing's more useful than grinders. And this is also our metalworking station, basically. You can see we have more grinders, and this is a welder. And then this is a metal lathe for turning. I'll turn the light back on. This is a metal lathe for turning stuff. And then up here we have more metallic stuff, and, you know, lights and stuff for welding, because we usually want to weld on lights to our machinery. And this is my dad's anvil. For those of you who have met Anvil, this is the anvil he used to sleep on. Another bigger press, and this is my dad's giant welder that you can use to weld railroad ties together. It's easily 4 feet tall. You consider I'm basically holding this camera at chest height. The water cooler, and this is what I think of as the part and chemical drawer. These are all just a random assortment of parts for all our machinery. Good times. Gas cans and whatnot. And this is the backhoe. Now this is our backhoe, and we've had it for years upon years. I got it when I was very young. There's actually a picture of me at the house that, playing out with my grandpa. And it needs some work right now. It needs some work done right now. Let's see if I can get around. This thing is massive, and it's massively powerful, and it's just super awesome in every way. This is more parts, by the way, right here, this stuff. And then this is my dad's acetylene torch. You ever want to find out about acetylene, just ask me. You can see there's the boom that goes up, and one of those, and that seat turns around. Right now it's facing away from me, but it turns around so you can drive it like a car, and then you can flip it around and drive it around, and you can flip around and use the hoe. And as you can see, it's also been kind of regulated to storage. We actually have the top off of it. There's the top right there. Turn the light back on. Nope, light was on. And yeah. And then we have, this is mostly the metal scrap corner, odds and ends, spark plugs and hubs and stuff like that. Metal. That's old. It's super awesome old. Love that thing. Ask me about it if you want to know. But yeah. This is where we recycle our cans. The crusher. And yeah, that's about it for this shop. I can go in much greater detail, but that would take forever. And yeah. This is one of our things of walnuts, and we have, if you didn't notice it before, we have 4 or 5 more over there. Yeah, we got 5 more canisters over there, and so people come, we just give them scoops of walnuts, and they give us money, and that's that. Anyway, I'm going to end this one and lead off to another one. Later.